doesn't these plans, of which you have a lot, by executive fiat, just make you another one of these presidential candidates who wants to do things by executive order?
It's a good question, but I think that there's a fundamental difference between a chief executive who wants to reduce regulations set forth by the executive branch, reduce managerial cancer in the executive bureaucracy, versus those who wish to create something they were never authorized to actually create. Very big difference. And so my view is that Article 2 of the Constitution says there is one chief executive of the executive branch. I know this as an outsider. I'm not a politician. I think that's actually an asset in this race and in leading this country. I know that if somebody works for you and you can't fire them, that means they don't work for you. It means you work for them because you're responsible for what they do without having any authority to actually change it. And I refuse to be that puppet sitting in the White House. So, Leland, I will say this. I don't like to boast, but this is just a fact. I think I have the single greatest understanding of how to actually shut down the administrative, bureaucratic deep state on legal grounds. I'll give you one example. What stopped Trump from doing it, for example, was they said there are civil service protections that stop you from firing people, for example, at the Department of Education. Well, read the law. Turns out that only applies to individual firings. It does not apply to mass layoffs. Mass layoffs are absolutely what I am bringing to the D.C. bureaucracy. Will I be sued over it? Yes, I will. That means we go to the Supreme Court, which I've studied. We win 6-3 in the current Supreme Court, and that's how we drive real change, because now it's in judicial precedent, and the next president who comes after me won't have his hands tied in the same way. And so that's how I intend to do this, grounded in principle, grounded in the law, and actually deliver for the people of this country.
All right, so let's assume for a moment that you can indeed do that. And I think reasonable people could agree that there's some questions, and there's legal scholars on the other side of this, and that'll be debated by the Supreme Court. What if Joe Biden decided to do exactly the same thing with ICE? Would you be okay with that?
If Joe Biden wanted to shut down agencies in the federal government and had a constitutional basis for doing it as I do, for example, the Presidential Reorganization Act of 1977 says the president can shut down an agency if it stimulates the economy or if it eliminates redundancies in the federal government. That's the one I'll use to shut down the FBI, by the way. I would absolutely support his decision.
So he says it's going to use your first one, that it's going to help the economy. He says we need more immigrants, not less, because we need more workers, not less. I'm going to shut down ICE.
Well, we have to still enforce the laws of this country. That's the difference.
Well, but the Department of Education is also a law. Funding it is also a law by Congress. I'm just trying to figure out where you're cherry picking which agencies are able to be shut down and which aren't.
Reducing bureaucracy is the top of the agenda. And so if you're generally reducing bureaucracy, I stand on the side of doing it. And ICE is a perfect example. ICE isn't doing their job. We have 10 to 14,000 illegal migrants illegally crossing the southern border daily. That is the Swiss cheese of a southern border where fentanyl is flowing across this border in a one-way opium war that we fail to recognize that we're in. Human trafficking, child trafficking. Why? Because you have a bunch of bureaucrats who we never elected. And this is the big joke of our system. People in the Republican Party want me to criticize Joe Biden. I find that boring. Why would I criticize Biden when he's not even the person running the country? The people who we elect to run the government are not the ones who actually run the government. And you know what? I would rather have a Democrat president who I disagreed with. Still, if he was the duly elected president, at least be the one who actually wielded the executive power of this country rather than to actually be a puppet wielding the executive power of the administrative state, which is exactly how it works today. And this is what I tell the rest of the Republican Party. Stop talking about Biden and Harris. Start talking about our own vision, what we stand for. 2022 wasn't a red wave. It was a red trickle at best. Because you can criticize the radical Biden agenda all you want. If you lack a vision of your own, we're going to lose again. But if you want to win in a landslide, as I believe I will as the nominee, we will explain to the people of this country why reducing the federal employee headcount, the size of the federal government, by 75% will stimulate the economy. It'll restore a three-branch constitutional republic, and it will revive the essence of our national soul. Do that, we'll win in a landslide. That's exactly what I'm going to do.
Thanks for watching. Go to newsnationnow.com to find NewsNation on your television provider. And don't forget to subscribe. Click the red button to get more of NewsNation's fact-driven, unbiased coverage.